I've been gone for a while. I've been focusing more on my other channel, The Metalhey Show, and my Twitch stream, The Metalhey Show, which, if you guys didn't know, I do stream over on Twitch. If you love horror, well, you'll probably love what we do over on Twitch. It is an After Dark horror comedy show with skits, characters, challenges, and we dive into true crime, paranormal, and conspiracy theories over there as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, come on over, check us out. Today, we're going to be talking about a spooky phenomenon that's been going on since men could write on caves. One that's been happening all over the world in different cultures. This phenomenon, or I guess legend, I guess we can say legend, is the Hatman. Through the years, people have encountered this man in a hat, or this Hatman. A shadowy person wearing a brimmed hat, a long trench coat. Some say he has red eyes, 6 feet tall, maybe even taller, covered in shadows. Now, if you're familiar with shadow people, and we talked about this over on Twitch, then you might be familiar with the Hatman. But if you're not, don't worry, we're going to get more into it. What makes this interesting is that different cultures have actually been experiencing pretty much the same thing. They see a shadowy figure at the edge of their bed, or maybe they're hovering over you as you're sleeping. And in all cases, he's wearing a hat, a brimmed hat. Sometimes maybe it's a little bit taller, sometimes it's more brimmed. Sometimes they see more than just the Hatman. Sometimes they see just the Hatman. Sometimes they see the Hatman with a few other shadow people lurking in their doorway or at the edge of their bed, which to some might signify, hey, this Hatman, maybe he's the leader of the shadow people, or the leader of something. Now, this legend does fall in line with shadow people, beings, shades, shadowy spiritual beings, supernatural beings, whatever you want to call them. Now, these beings, from what I can tell, they are not dangerous. They're more observers, just watching. But what are they watching? No one really knows. Now, it is speculated that the Hatman could be some form of alien, maybe from another dimension. Maybe he came down from space. Maybe he was sent back in time to watch us. Collecting data on the human race, collecting data on people. But every claim of the Hatman seems to be first-hand encounters. So a lot of these encounters are kind of similar. They say that the Hatman leers over you as you're sleeping. You're unable to move. Maybe it's the fear that's coursing through your veins, knowing that this shadowy figure is standing over you. Maybe he's hovering over your bed or standing in your doorway. The fear making you feel stuck to your bed. Now, some people say that this is just sleep paralysis. Now, someone who has had this, and sometimes I still do, it's pretty terrifying. Not gonna lie. You're stuck to your bed, you can't move, it's hard to breathe, you can't open your eyes. Now, in my experience, I have not seen the Hatman. I've seen other things, but I've not seen the Hatman. Some have even whispered into my ears, saying they're gonna murder my whole family, saying they're gonna do things to me. Now, I think I did a video on this. I'm not too sure. I've talked about it on stream before. I can't remember. But these people have seen the Hatman. Do I believe that it's sleep paralysis? Maybe to a point. To what I felt and to what I seen in those moments, I will probably never forget. Now, this is something I think in order to believe in, you have to experience it yourself. Now, just because I haven't seen the Hatman, but I've seen other things, I do believe in the Hatman and shadow people. But it is interesting, this Hatman. Out of all the claims, all the encounters, the stories always seem to be the same. Man in hat, feeling fear as he looms over you. Now, it could be sleep paralysis. Maybe these people are dreaming. It could be, but there's one difference here that sets it apart from sleep paralysis. You can see the Hatman in broad daylight. You don't have to be sleeping. People have claimed that they have seen the Hatman throughout their day. In the distance, watching them out of the corner of their eye, walking down the sidewalk and you see something in the distance. You can't quite make out what it is, but that person's wearing a hat. It's a shadowy figure. But you're thinking, hey, he's in the distance. That's probably why I can't make him out. Always watching, always observing. A lot of these sightings, I've noticed through my research, have always happen after a traumatic event. Why is that? We don't know. Maybe the Hatman, maybe these shadowy people, they love collecting data on people who are broken. When a loved one passes, a car accident, near-death experience, the Hatman shows up and he's watching. Now, I found this site about this interesting guy, Tim Brown. Now, Tim Brown had an experience with the Hatman. He was 14 at the time. He was drifting off to sleep, just like we all do, dreaming about sports or whatever as a kid, when he saw the Hatman. Drifting off to sleep, the buzz of his TV still going on in the background, lighting his room up as his eyes get heavier and heavier, when boom, a sound woke him up. As he looked around, he saw him. A shadowy man standing right there in his doorway. Tall, wearing a broad-brimmed hat, trench coat, face covered in shadows, his whole body shadow. The fear sucking the breath right out of him. After finally being able to move, he broke free, reached for the lights, flipped them on, and he was gone. Now, he started this website called the Hatman Project. This is a site where people can come who have had encounters with the Hatman, and they actually leave their encounters with the Hatman. It's quite interesting, actually. Below you will read hundreds of stories from all over the world of people who have encountered dark beings known as shadow people. One shadow being of interest is one that has come to be known as the Hatman. With its wide-brimmed hat and long dark flowing cape, the Hatman has been seen by thousands of people of all ages from all over the world. We believe that it is not a coincidence that more and more people are starting to have encounters with these beings. Since the turn of the millennium, there has been an increasing number of synchronous events, both in the spiritual and in the natural, that have been increasing in frequency and intensity. If you are reading these words and have experience similar to those on this site, you are here for a reason. Now, there's a lot of stories here, like pages and pages and pages about the Hatman. Let's read one of these, shall we? It was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. This was back in 2015. I was always fascinated with ghost stories, horror films, mysteries, even strong spiritual connections. I can honestly say I never truly believed in ghosts, though. There's always too much of a question there. If you ever have an experience like this, you will never question again, as it opens up all kinds of doorways of thoughts on the supernatural. In my house, a 1970s southern home, I have felt a presence before. It often is negative, but has also been angelic after my mother passed. Again, traumatic event. There were little things that happened when me and my sister were young. We shared a room together. I had seen a wolf-like creature standing by her nightstand with neon green glowing eyes. And another time she saw an angel watching me as I slept. Those visions faded with time and age. One night, just a few years ago now, I had fallen asleep in my bedroom. I felt something was watching me. My eyes flew open, and standing near the foot of my bed, kind of at the side, was a man watching me. He had beady, piercing black eyes. He was old but had no wrinkles, white hair, and a white, short beard. He wore what appeared to be a black trench coat and a rounded, long-brimmed, Amish-looking hat or sharp-brimmed vintage fedora. His look was dull, stoic, slightly sad. Intrigued somehow by me, menacing because of it, I got the feeling he had been there before. After several good seconds of realizing this was in fact real, I let out a blood-curdling scream. I ran up the back of the bed and against the wall, and he vanished before me. I turned on the night lamp and grabbed my phone, went outside my room and called my sister. What is curious is that my mother passed a year later in the same month. I often think he was a foreteller of doom, or just a curious entity that wants something but is unsure how to attain it. It helps to know other people have seen this man. I would like to talk to someone who actually saw this pale man's direct face, because very few I have read saw him at such close range. I can still see him right in my mind. Now go to the site, the Hatman Project. There's tons of stories here that you can read about the Hatman and people's experiences. Are they real? Are they true? Well, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. But I'd like to think that the Hatman does exist. I've had experiences similar to this. So if we go into this debate about is the Hatman real? Well, then we have to assume that shadow people are real as well, since the Hatman is one of those entities. I mean, there's so many encounters from around the world, so many similar stories. It's not just when people are drifting off to sleep, but in broad daylight as well. I do believe that there are things out there watching us, among us even. And I think the Hatman is probably just one of those beings. Now, the Hatman, is he real? Do you guys think he's real? Let me know down in the comments if you do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button. We'll be putting out way more videos than we have been lately. And be sure to check us out on Twitch, the Metalhey Show. And I'm curious, have you guys had any encounters as well? I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next creepy video.